I don't normally do this type of content on the channel, but y'all probably have seen Team Melli talks, Goal Bazans, Deadball TVs, previews for Iran's upcoming matches in Asian World Cup qualification. But do their videos have a World Cup trophy wearing a Japanese bandana that gives me mystical powers to becoming a prediction god? Didn't think so, so that is why this video will be clear of all those other ones I just mentioned. I thought since these were some of Iran's biggest matches so far in World Cup qualification, let's do a preview talking about them because I have a lot of thoughts going into these two matches because I think there's a lot riding on them. Don't forget, I will be doing a YouTube live watch along for the Uzbekistan versus Iran match tomorrow, so make sure to go turn on that bell notification so you're there when I go live. It's going to be a whole lot of fun, so don't miss out. I think the best thing to start with for this video is talking about the squad list because there always seems to be something to talk about because Amir Qalanoui is missing a couple of chromosomes. I will say this is probably one of Amir Qalanoi's best squad lists, but that's not really saying much. The biggest and most glaring player that got called up to this camp yet again, and I don't understand why, surely this man has some sort of blackmail on Qalanoui, is Shahryar Moghalu. I don't understand, nor does any Iranian football fan understand how does this 29-year-old mid can be player who has had zero success at the national team level and is playing in the Middle East in the UAE, and he's not even a good player in that league, getting called up over the likes of Syed Manesh and Sahar Khizan, who both are playing in Europe and are arguably one of the best attackers in their leagues right now. Makes zero sense. Both of those two guys should be the spearheads for Iran's future in those attacking positions. There's only so long we can rely on the Azmoons and Taramis to lead this line going into the next World Cup. That new generation does have to be implemented. So instead of wasting attacking spots on a guy like Moghalu, just call them up and actually give them minutes. Because I can pinky promise you their cameos will be so much more impactful than what Moghalu does in his 10 to 15 minutes that he seems to always get in every single camp. But other than that, there are the positives of Hossein Nejad, Hossein Zadeh being a part of the camp, but I will say we have seen this in the past where Qalanoui calls up a couple of youngsters, Shakuri, Hossein Nejad, kind of just as like a PR stunt to essentially be like, hey, look at me, I'm calling up the young players, but I'm not going to give them a single minute in any of these matches. So I'm not going to count my chickens too soon being like, hey, it's cool he finally brought in Hossein Nejad, it's cool he brought in Hossein Zadeh, who are both playing really well, good, creative midfielders that are part of this next young generation of Iranian footballers, but it's more of a matter of them actually getting significant minutes in these matches. And the thing is too, to digress a little bit, the matches against the likes of like UAE, Kyrgyzstan, North Korea, like the lesser opponents, should be the times where we should be playing these type of players because there's more margin of error allowed in those type of matches. But in these type of matches against Uzbekistan and Qatar, I don't blame Qalanoui if he wants to go for a more experienced lineup. That's where I'll give it to him. If he wants to play a more experienced lineup in the more tougher matches, I think that's fine, but you need to balance it out. I still do think, regardless if these are big matches, I think the likes of especially Hossein Nejad can make a big difference in these type of games. In my opinion, I don't think it matters playing the youngsters in the tougher games, the easier games. I just want to see them play. But I will give Qalanoui the benefit of the doubt in the tougher matches. If he wants to play a more experienced lineup, that is fine. But you have to even that out by giving these young players actual minutes in World Cup qualification to actually gain that experience building up to big matches in Asian Cups, World Cups. That's the most important part here. Playing guys like Nuraf Khan and Khalilzadeh is not going to benefit us come 2026. But nonetheless, that's when it comes to the squad call-ups. Let's first get started with the match against Uzbekistan. This is going to be by far Iran's toughest match. We previously played them in the previous round of qualification where both times we drew the match. Iran historically has a really good record against Uzbekistan, but all Asian football fans know, which even includes myself, itself, Uzbekistan is definitely the Asian national team on the rise. They have made some big leaps and bounds to break into being one of the top dogs in Asian football, and it is really starting to show at the senior national team level. Iran has only ever drawn against them once, lost to them once prior to these two recent meetings where we saw 2 draws. And honestly, I would say over those 2 matches, I think Uzbekistan were the better team. And at some point, in my opinion, I think this dam is finally gonna break, and I don't want that to happen in this game. Iran hasn't played their best against them recently, but really need to here, because anything less than, I would say, a draw is really bad and will possibly hurt Iran's World Cup qualification campaign. So I feel Qalanoi's got to mix things up in this match. I think he needs to start the likes of a Hossein Nejad or a Hossein Zadeh to add that little bit of sprinkle magic in the midfield to connect with the offense, because I think what we saw in that last international window, there was a clear disconnect from the midfield to the offense. We need someone that can bring the ball forward from transition, from midfield to offense, add that creativity so it relieves that pressure from Taremi, Azmoun, that they don't have to also be the creators. Give them those opportunities. So I think giving a guy like Hossein Nejad, Golizadeh starts in this match is going to be really, really important. Then moving on to the match against Qatar. I mean, the big storyline for this game is this is the revenge match for Iran. As we all know, Iran lost to them in the Asian Cup semifinals, and the less I talk about that, the better. Regardless if we win this game, it still won't take away the fact that we lost to them in the Asian Cup semifinal, but we need to use that as fuel to win this game. And currently, Qatar have honestly sucked balls in this qualification campaign. So can we keep stomping on their throats and not be the bogey team to get them points to give them life back in World Cup qualification? I want us to absolutely destroy them and let them whittle in the bottom of the qualification group. I don't want to even give them an inch. The biggest topic in news going into this match is it will most likely either be played on a neutral venue, or the home and away legs will be swapped, where instead of playing in Iran right now, the match will actually be played in Qatar, and then they'll reverse it and play the match in Iran later on during the day that they were supposed to play the match in Qatar. That's still up in the air, but nonetheless, the match is not going to be played in Iran. And I'm pretty confident they're just going to switch the home and away games to the home one being in Qatar this time, and the away game being in Iran later on. But to pretty much wrap up today's video, because I'm absolutely exhausted, I'm recording this video very late. If you can't see, I mean, it's pitch black outside. I think the biggest takeaway here is we can't be going out of these 2 matches with anything less than 4 points. I think 4 points is the bare minimum. Ideally, I think we need to be trying to get 6 points. If we get 6 points, we put one huge foot into getting one of those automatic World Cup qualification spots, because I think we'd be completely peeling ourselves away from the group, finishing as one of the top teams. But if we get anything less than 4 points, I think we're going to be playing catch up for the rest of the games. These 2 matches are by far the most important matches Iran have played since the World Cup. I think it is very important that we just try to win both of these games. We'll see what happens. As I said, I will be doing a live watch along on YouTube for the Uzbekistan versus Iran match, so make sure not to miss out. Turn on that bell notification, and you guys got to let me know in the comments down below, what are your thoughts going into this match? You think Iran can win both of these games? Because I surely hope they do so, because if they don't, you're going to be seeing me crying all over Twitter. So boys and girls, make sure to smash the like button on today's video, subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and I hope you'll have a lovely day.